Hey, welcome back to another episode of Simple Truth Television. It's now May 4th in New York City, 2025. Um, I wanted to make this video a long time ago, and I think this is going to be one of the most important videos that I've ever made. And, you know, I, I wanted to talk about this topic for a long time. What I want to do is I want you guys to call in. I want to have a discussion with the Gematria community, as much people as possible. I'm gonna be here. You know, I'm gonna aim for like an hour and a half, maybe 2 hours, because I want to get as many opinions as possible in this live stream, so that when people come and watch it on the replay, they can understand what I'm trying to communicate to you guys, and let's see what the people what are saying, if people are really actually even noticing what I'm noticing. I really feel like the gematria community has been targeted. I think that's the right word. And what I mean by that is, I feel like they're using gematria to confuse us. I'll explain, right? Let me just. I want to share this live stream with the people on my social media before we get started. The phone line is open as soon as I'll link the live stream on my social media. The number's on the screen: 646-986-0958. I want you guys to call in. I'm telling you, this is gonna be one of my best streams because this is a very, very, very important topic. If you guys remember, I think I spoke about this during the Super Bowl. I was telling people that I was gonna do this live stream. I just never got around to it. So just give me 1 second. I want to share the link to my social media, let everybody know that I'm live, because I know people are not getting notified when I go live. So this is one of the reasons I started a Instagram page. So that way, if you're on my Instagram, if you go to my stories, you're gonna see the link to my live stream, because I know YouTube likes to not notify my subscribers that I'm live. So this is a good way to get a notification without missing anything. All right, so I'm gonna open up the live stream and the phone lines in 5 minutes. I wanna just speak about what I think was going on, and then I want you guys to respond by calling in and giving me your thoughts. Right? Okay. So if you guys remember during Super Bowl 59, right? The Eagles, they defeated the Kansas City Chiefs, right? And remember when I made the video, probably 3 or 4 days before the Super Bowl, and I was telling people why I thought that the Philadelphia Eagles was going to become the champions. See, this was 3 months ago. I put out this video, and I titled it "Learn Why the Philadelphia Eagles Will Stop the Three-Peat." And I was giving people my thoughts on the Super Bowl and why I thought the Eagles had the better narrative. This video is the video with the most comments that I've ever had on a single video. It had a lot of comments. I don't even know how many, but this is the video that has the most comments on my channel. And I never when I saw all this interactions with like people was giving me, I was like, why are people so against my opinion, my decode? And if you guys remember, that's because the Eagles, if they would have lost the Super Bowl, they would have felt the 666 and 666 whole time against the Chiefs. The Eagles would have picked up their 666 all time loss against the Kansas City Chiefs, and we know the significance of that number is very important to the Jesuit order and the Illuminati, and it's a very biblical number, you guys, as you guys should know. A lot of the people were calling me an agent, calling me a fraud because I was fading the 666 narrative. And the reason I made it very clear in that video, the reason I was fading that, it was a lot of reasons, but the main reason I was fading that is because I felt like it was a trap. And if you've been decoding for any like let's say any time between 2020 to now, if you've been actually even later than that, even for a year, if you've been decoding sports for at least 1 year, then you have noticed what we call in this community traps. And what I mean by that is like the Super Bowl, for example. The Eagles did not lose and become 666 and 666. Instead, they won. And I think what was it? Patrick Mahomes became 17-4. Somewhere in his stats, he became 17-4. We know number of the beast is 174. I don't exactly remember what it was about Patrick Mahomes, but they still paid tribute to the number of the beast, even though the Eagles didn't lose and become 666 and 666. So these traps, they've been happening a lot. And one of the questions that I was asking after the Super Bowl was like, how is that even possible that these traps are even happening or even coming around when supposedly nobody's supposed to know about this stuff? And I was just having a discussion with my man Vince about this stuff, and I was asking him like, you know, if supposedly nobody knows about Gematria, right? The betting public is supposedly doesn't know about Gematria. Why does websites like Stat Muse exist, or websites like Pro Football Reference? Like, what is the point of Stat Muse? You think the average fan is going on Stat Muse, or the average gambler is going on Stat Muse? Besides the people in the community, obviously, right? Who are the people mostly using this website? Statmuse.com. For those of you not familiar with this website, you go on here, you type in, for example, what is the Nuggets all-time record versus the Clippers, including the postseason? And the AI will give you the answer. It says here that the Nuggets, they have 119 wins and 97 losses in the regular season and in the playoffs versus the Clippers all time. So this is a site that you can find out the head-to-head records between any two teams, any player. I'm not even sure if they have the coaches stuff up here, but any team, any player that you want to look up his record versus a team, or just on a specific date, this artificial intelligence website will provide you with the answer. So I always ask myself, what is the point? Like, why did they release this website in 2014? Who the hell is using this website besides the people in this community? And if you guys notice what it says up here, the Nuggets today, so something we gave out on Patreon, we told people that Nuggets was going to win in advance on Tyrone Lue's birthday. And the reason I knew it. If you notice, right, before this game was played, the Nuggets only had 118 wins and 97 losses against the Clippers, right? 118 and 97 was the all-time record between the Nuggets and the Clippers. This is what I mean about traps. If you notice in Gematria, Clippers, it equals 98 forwards and 118 in reverse. So, this is what I mean when I say that the Gematria community is under attack. And this is why, people like Topsy and others, say that Gematria is bullshit. That the games are not being rigged by Gematria. That only some games are rigged, and not every game. And that's because a lot of you are falling on the banana peel. You're falling on the banana peel, and then you're blaming the Gematria for it. And it's not that. It's not your fault. It's not the Gematria fault. You're being baited, and you're falling for the traps. And these baits are being done, obviously, on purpose. And obviously, these websites are being implemented to confuse those who are not that experienced at decoding sports games. Like I said, Clippers equals 98 forwards and 118 in reverse. Now, if by just knowing that, right, you go, let's say the game has not been played yet, right? So now you're trying to decode the game 7 between the Nuggets and Clippers. And you're noticing that the Nuggets have 118 wins 118 wins and 97 losses. So if you're decoding this game and you put Clippers in the calculator and it gives you these values of 98 and 118, right? The person without the experience, and that used to be me, when I first started doing this, I used to get caught with a lot of these things, and that's how I learned. I learned to catch on. I caught on because I made a lot of mistakes early on. I'm like, wait. How does the Clippers not win and become 98 and 118? What's going on? Oh my God, they're flipping the script. Oh no, my God, they must be watching my videos and that's why they changed it. I was fucking confused. I was like, what is going on? And now I think I'm becoming more aware of what's going on. I'm not claiming to know everything. That's why I want to open up the phone lines and see what you guys think about this stuff. Right? So if you're decoding this game, right, and you're looking at it like, oh shit, Clippers have the 98 and the 118. No way. I'm gonna put all my money on the Clippers to drop the Nuggets to 118 and 98 all time. Remember, the only reason they have 119 wins is because they just finished winning the game 7 just now, right? They just won. That's why they picked up their 119th win. But before the game was played, they only had 118 wins. So if the Nuggets would have lost, they would have been 118 and 98 all time against the Clippers. And Clippers has those two values. This is what I mean by when I say the Gematria community is under attack. They're giving us these websites like Stat Muse, and I'm gonna say something that I'm gonna probably be like, I'm probably gonna get attacked for it. But I don't want to say this. I even think Gematria was introduced to us to confuse us. As crazy as that sounds, as helpful as Gematria is, because they know. Listen. Let me just finish, because I already know people are like, making faces right now. I could just feel it. I feel the energy through the screen. As crazy as it sounds, and as valuable as Gematria is, and as relevant as Gematria is, I do think that it was introduced to us to mislead us. Even though the games are being scripted using Gematria, I want to make it clear. Gematria is a real thing and is really being used to rig sports games and ritualistically murder celebrities. That is no doubt. But it has also been implemented to confuse. It was implemented not only to influence more people into gambling, but also to create more losers. Think about how many people left a comment under my video when I put out the Eagles is going to win. I'm pretty sure all of those people who left a comment that day put their money on the Kansas City Chiefs to give the Eagles their 666 loss and lost their bet. And this is why there's so many people in the community who say that Gematria is bullshit. It's because they're falling for the traps. Again, websites like Pro Football Reference, Stat Muse, why do they even exist? Because think about it. If you're the owner of these leagues, and you know there's a community out there of people decoding your team and getting it right, and calling championships in advance, the casinos, the leagues are not going to be that happy about that. So why would they have a site like this, like StatMuse, providing these decoders who are killing the casinos? Why would they be providing these tools to these people to use to decode their rigged sports games? If they didn't want us to have this website would not exist, you guys. If the leagues did not want this website to exist, it would not exist. I don't know who created this site. according to Wikipedia, it was released in 2014. It says here by Adam Elmore and Ellie Dawson. They supposed to be founded the company in 2014. I don't know who those people are, but I'm telling you, those people have a price. And if the casinos and the leagues were, you know, against this website would have been bought a long time ago, and it would have been eliminated a long, long time ago. But this website has been up for 11 years. Right around the time Gematria came around. Maybe that's a coincidence, but, you know, this is why, you know, stuff like this, this is why these videos were being made by me. Because I'm like, man, they got everybody thinking the 6666 stuff is going to happen. And I've been aware of these baits for a long time, but I really thought it was just I ain't gonna lie. I thought it was just me being like, you know, paranoid. I'm like, that's not what's going on, but no, it is going on. And then you also got to ask yourself, how long because you got to understand, right? For this situation to even be possible, that means they've been scripting every Nugget. I mean, they have been scripting every Nuggets and Clippers game ever. I mean, we know that. But why would this situation arise in 2025 where the Nuggets have a possibility of dropping their all-time record against the Clippers to 118-98, the gematria of that other team? Why would that even be a possibility? If supposedly nobody knows about this stuff, nobody's going to figure this stuff out. Why would the Chiefs? Let's look up the Chiefs versus Eagles all-time record. There's no way they're 6-6. What the hell is that? What are they talking about? This is something else. The Chiefs. Maybe I wrote it wrong. Let's see. Chiefs versus Eagles. Oh, I know what it is. I'm sorry, you guys. It's the Eagles all-time record. I'm sorry, I said the Eagles versus Chiefs. No, it's the Eagles all-time record, including the postseason. Sorry about that. Here it is. It says here that the Philadelphia Eagles are now 667 and 665, and with 27 ties in the regular season and the playoffs all time. And they picked up that 667th win in the Super Bowl against the Kansas City Chiefs. If they would have lost, they would have been 666 and 666, right? How many games is that before the Super Bowl was played? 666 plus 665. That's 1,300. That's 1,331 games. So though we know that 1,300 that first 1,331 games were scripted. We know that. And then obviously the 1,331st game was the the 1,332nd game was the Super Bowl. That was actually because you got to also count the 27 ties, right? Okay, so not including the ties, the Eagles have played exactly 1,332 games all time, right? So, and that was the Super Bowl, their 1,332nd game all time, not including the ties, because they have 27 more games that they played, but they ended up in ties. I'm just talking about the wins and losses. So they played 1,332 games, whether they've won or lost. That's a lot of games, right? So I don't know what year the Eagles were established. I'm pretty sure I could look it up and find out. But you're trying to tell me that from the moment that the Eagles franchise was established to 2025, whenever the Super Bowl was, they were scripting every single game to then set up this narrative for the Eagles to pick up their 666 loss. But what I'm saying is, why would it even be this way, right? Because obviously the average gambler is not looking into this. So who's looking into this stuff? Who's even thinking about the Eagles' all-time record? The only people doing this is us. We're the only ones that even knew about their record being 666 and 665. The average bettor did not know this. And this is why so many of you ended up disappointed, because you fell for the trap. So what I'm saying is, I'm asking the question: Are we being baited? Are we on the attack? Do you guys agree with me, or maybe I'm just hallucinating, or maybe I'm just paranoid, maybe I'm just delusional, maybe I'm just making it, seeing things. But maybe all this stuff is just a coincidence that this 666 narrative is there, and then it doesn't play, and it's in this 98 118 ritual is about to happen, and it doesn't happen. And the thing is, so many people was hitting me up about this, like, Arthur, you put Nuggets on your Patreon. I don't think the Nuggets are gonna win because 98 and 118, blah 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 blah. I don't want to expose whoever wrote that, because I don't want to do that. But there were a lot of people hitting me up about this stuff, telling me about that possible narrative of the Nuggets losing, and I was like, no, that is a trap. I can tell a trap from a mile away. Keep in mind that the Nuggets eliminated the Clippers 193 days into the season, the 44th prime, Clippers 44, and think about how they're gonna have Russell Westbrook going against his old team, the Oklahoma City Thunder. Perfect script, perfect narrative. The Nuggets just picked up their 109th postseason win against Los Angeles on Tyronn Lue's 48th birthday. I was like, that's what they're gonna go with. They're not gonna go with the 98 and 118. So, if you want to call in, the number is 646-986-0958. Tell me, these are the questions I want you guys to please answer. Are we under attack? Were we given Gematria, Stat Muse, Pro Football Reference? Were we given these tools to confuse us? Because obviously, there are people in this community that are good at sports decoding. But there's also a lot of people who are not that good at it, who are being misled. And even the people who are really good at it are misled from time to time. All right, so there it is. So that's the questions I want you guys to please answer. Are we under attack? Or maybe I'm just making this stuff up. Maybe I'm just seeing things that's not really there. Hopefully my question is clear, because I don't want people calling in and then talking about something else. Like, I want to make my question very clear, because I want to get to the bottom of it. Because I want to protect you guys from falling for stuff like this. And I want to know what can we do to avoid stuff like this as a community. All right, so I'm gonna go in the chat, see what you guys think, if nobody else wants to call in. Yeah, Topsy, and that's the thing in Topsy, right? Topsy, that's a good point. You see, Topsy, sometimes Topsy says things that I that's why I'm so disappointed that you went against us. But I think you was misled. I think this option is gonna help you. Yeah, Topsy, you see, they also tricked us. They tricked us with the 3P and Patrick Mahomes, right? All those things were tricks This is what I'm saying. We are under attack. You see how three-peat is 145 was 145 days. The Super Bowl was 145 days after Patrick Mahomes' birthday. This is what I mean. We are under attack. Why would the Super Bowl be scheduled 145 days after Patrick Mahomes' birthday if he's not going to three-peat? Why are they coming out with these commercials? Fumble Rooski, which equals 145. There's a reason for all this stuff. Yeah, Brad, thank you. Isn't that perfect timing? Perfect timing, right? In 2025, Eagles just happened to have 666 wins and 665 losses right when this Gematria community exists. We got our first caller. I think that's my man Vincent. I was just speaking about this with Vincent, and he agrees with me. But let's see what he has to say. Oh, you hung up. Call back, Vince. I'm sorry. I took too long to answer. Yeah, they tricked a lot of people with the 145 three-peat narrative. They did. Hello?
Can you hear me?
Yes, what's going on, Vince? Thank you for the call.
Oh, yeah. Okay. So, um, yeah, you're right. I think looking at everything, I think uh, we need to Stat Muse and Pro Reference, all those, they're good tools, but I don't think you should focus your attention on them because they can be misleading, like you brought up the from the Philadelphia Eagles. That was a bait, and just because you see Stat Muse and they have the numbers that match, the teams don't have to win and they don't have to lose that day. They can lose or win another day and then match up the numbers. But um, I think they do use.
Oh my God, just hung up. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry about that. Sorry about that, Vince. I'll call you right back. Sorry about that, Vince. I clicked I hit the end button.
That's all right.
I got you were
I
saying.
think, yeah, I think they do use those to um, to throw us off because the majority of the people that are gambling are the decoders. They're the ones that are putting the big money to they're putting the big money to get those to make you lose.
Yeah,
Like
so you agree that these websites like Pro Football Reference and Stat Muse, they were created for the Gematria community exclusively.
yeah, I think yeah because who else is using them? Like you said before you started the stream, you and I were talking about it. So who else was using them? Nobody.
No, the average gambler is not going on Stat Muse to figure out who's going to win between the Yankees or the Mets.
Right, but I do think that I after we're talking about it, I think that like dates, like when you use the date and number software, I think I think dates can't be manipulated. Um, when they put let's say they put I don't know, let's just say Kobe Bryant when he died at 41, that can be manipulated. They could change the age 41, 40, 42, whatever they want to change. But I think on a date, they can't manipulate it. I think we need to start looking at dates. Like for instance, I'll give you an example. Um, let's just say, this is a long shot. Let's just say the Clippers meet the Celtics in the finals, the top dogs. The the last time that they played, the significance between each other, the Rockets, the Rockets played the Celtics back in 1981. And what I mean by dates is if you subtract 225, which is 2025, and you subtract 1981, it gives you 44. And I think, like you mentioned earlier, numbers like for instance, 76 or 59 and 76. You know, that can be used for Africans, or it can be used for the Pope, or like the Arturo Sosa, the Superior General. So 44 or those numbers can be used for whatever they want to use it for. We just have to figure out what they're using it for at that time, if it makes any sense.
Yeah, but what about like these riddles where like the Eagles will have 666 wins and 665 losses, and it's like if you're decoding this stuff, and I mean we're the only because if you remember, 80% of the betting public was on the Eagles,
Right.
so they didn't mind giving all that money to the average gambler. I think that other 20% that was on the Chiefs were probably the Gematria community.
Yeah, but so they had like 80% was on the Eagles, and then the 20% was on the Chiefs. But then they start pushing that three-peat, and then it shifted, and then it started to people were betting on the Chiefs. More people were betting on the Chiefs. I think I think when you pull up those stats where it shows that 80% is on the Eagles, I think that's misleading too. I also think that these Stat Muse and Pro Reference and all that, these sites are also to bait you and things like that. If you What you have to do in Gematria, I think, is you have to kind of get away from those sites and start looking at history, because um, you can type up anything in history and they can't change the dates. They can change the
Yeah, you're absolutely right. That's why I always say I get what you're trying to say. Like for example, if they murder Vince Scully and then have the Dodgers win 117 weeks after he died, they can't go against that. That's a little bit different than for like a team picking up that 117th win and becoming 117 and 117 versus the team. But that's where the experience and
it's
you have
harder.
to you have to be more you have to be good. You have to be that's what separates.
You have to
Yeah, go ahead.
you have you have to have time into it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, you have to have experience and you have to be good at it.
Right.
That's what separates some decoders from the good decoders from the bad decoders. But what I'm saying is, why are they even offering these sites to people? Because if you think about it, if they was to eliminate Pro Football Reference and Stat Muse and let's say we just have Derek's website, how hard would it be for us to figure out the outcomes of these games?
So it would be harder for the people that don't know. But for people that like me, I'm just starting. I've a couple of years. I'm listening and following, but actually decoding on my own maybe a year, and I'm still not good. So I think you have to like pay attention. I think pattern is a big thing too. There's a lot of pattern. Like for instance, like I mentioned it before on your channel, maybe before the Super Bowl. All you have to remember is simple things. One team in a decade. Remember, one team in one decade. A decade is 10 years. It started in Super Bowl 54. That was the first of our decade, 2020. It ends in Super Bowl 63, which is what 2029. In this decade that we're living, only one team can get three Super Bowl wins, three Super Bowl wins. Who is it? The Chiefs. They already have three. That's why they couldn't get a three-peat. They already had three. That means that if the Chiefs ever make it to the Super Bowl within the next 4 years, I don't care who they play, they're going to lose because they already have three. Go back in the past decades. Go back 50 years. You'll notice New England Patriots had last decade. The decade before that was New England Patriots. You're going to see the Cowboys, the Niners, in that decade. They can get a three-peat. Let's say let's just say, for instance, the Chiefs never got a Super Bowl. Let's say in Super Bowl 62, 63, they can win back-to-back. And then a new decade, which is 64, they can win a Super Bowl and have a three-peat. But they already have it. So next decade, which is Super Bowl 64, 10 years, another team is going to get three. Now, people are going to bet.
So that's what you're saying. You're saying like, so, like when you're decoding games, basically, to look out for patterns that are way more consistent than just the a number, for example.
Right, exactly.
Yeah, that yeah. I've always preached that, like like the deaths of people, like the day, like for example, the death of Kobe Bryant ended up being a ritual for the Lakers, right? Who won on Father Daughter Day, right? Yeah, those are definitely. But that's what I'm saying. That's for the more knowledgeable people who are decoding the stuff, right? But the average decoder who are just who love people, because there's a lot of people who like to just look at numbers. There's probably people like wondering, wow, I can't believe the Eagles didn't pick up that 666 loss. Gematria is bullshit. Oh my god, I can't believe people believe in this stuff. Those are the people I'm trying to communicate to. It's like, okay, you have to understand that we are under attack. And the crazy part is, what makes me wonder is, were we given Gematria to for us to fail, to confuse us? What do you think about that?
No, I don't think we were. I think Gematria is a tool.
So similar to Stat Muse.
Yeah, but Gematria is a tool, and it's a serious tool because they communicate with this thing. Stat Muse and all these are tools, yeah, but I think they're on it. They're on to us, or they're on to the more experienced. I shouldn't say us, but the more experienced. They're on they're on to you, and they can manipulate Stat Muse because they know you're going to look at it.
Oh, that's a good point. That's a good point. Maybe what we're seeing on Stat Muse is not actually the number.
Right.
Like maybe the Eagles don't have 667 all time wins, but they can just tell us that because
you have to. I don't want to speak over you, but you have to. I think to find that out, you have to use dates of the Philadelphia Eagles. That means you got a Philadelphia Eagles. That means you have to go back in time and look at the dates to figure out. Oh, okay. Do they really have 666 wins? Who knows? Maybe it's only 559.
yeah, how can we even verify what Stat Muse is reporting? That's what I mean. Stat Muse was introduced to us in okay. So now, well, I get what you're saying. So okay, so that okay, so Gematria was not given to us to mislead us, but maybe Stat Muse and these other websites were. And when we go on their website and we're looking up the stat of a team, they're just giving us a number. That doesn't necessarily mean that that number is what it is.
Right.
But that still means we are under attack. We were under attack. But because think about it, Stat Muse came around in 2014, right around the time Gematria came around.
Right. But Gematria has already been here from before.
No. I mean like I mean around the time that Zach introduced it to us.
Okay. Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. So just I don't want to take up too much time because maybe other callers are trying to get in. But what I wanted to mention for your new people, for anybody new coming in, I think like when I first started listening to you, I never knew anything about the sports angle. Oh wow, you can bet on and hopefully win. Oh wow, I didn't know that. What I used to watch was when you used to decode all the rituals of the celebrities that died and all the politics and things like that. That's what caught me on. And you don't have Stat News and Pro Reference and all these softwares for that, those tools for that. You have to do it with dates And that's what caught me on. Now, when I found out about sports, oh wow! And now there's an easier way of the Stat Muse. But then I noticed that Stat Muse and all these um, tools are not always like. Is it I'm not accurate or they're not accurate?
And you want to know something about Stat Muse? Have you ever noticed how Stat Muse will have a record and it'll be different than Pro Football Reference?
I
So
noticed that.
I think what you're saying, I think you nailed it on the money. I think that Stat Muse was introduced to us. I think that's the answer to my question. Stat Muse is the tool that was introduced to us to mislead us. So that way, when we go on there, because they know that we're the only community even using this website. There's nobody else in the world you using this. You ask the average person in the street, have you ever heard of statmuse.com? They're going to say no. The average gambler does not even know that this site even exists. But guess who does? The Gematria community. And the fact that it was founded in 2014, around the time Gematria came around, that makes it even more suspicious. And another thing that I've noticed about this site is that if sometimes it's not in accordance with other stat keeping sites like Pro Football Reference or even M Cube. Have you heard of M Cube?
It's because Stat News after the win, it usually takes 24 hours to update.
Yeah, but who's
And
to
then
say that those numbers are even accurate? Like you were saying.
right, and then the same thing. From you mentioned earlier that like you don't know if you can look up coaches for Stat News. No, you can't. But you have to go to Pro Reference, and just like you can't look up um, college on Stat News, you have to go to Pro Reference, and the vice versa for the NHL. You know, it just yeah, it's funny how these things came up when you had when you had these decoders.
Yeah, I think that's the answer to my question. I think this site was founded just to to keep us in check.
Right. Yeah, I think you have to do more research.
You have to do more research and you have to be way more careful. Just don't think that because you see a 98 118 that's what the ritual is. That's most likely a trap. Yeah, I get what you're saying. Yeah.
You know, you got you got to be careful because like the football season is going to come up, and you never know. They might have something where oh shoot, the Chiefs are going to get another Super Bowl, and then you have some callers that are going to say, well, Vince said they already have three. Do they get another? Are they going
But
to be the only?
go
Are
ahead,
they going to be the
finish.
only team to get four? No, it's never going to happen. It's only three.
But you know what? Okay, so going back to what I was saying, I think it's deeper than just that news though, because think about what Topsy was saying about Patrick Mahomes. They scheduled they scheduled the Super Bowl 145 days after his birthday, and 3P equals 145. So that's not stat news related.
Yeah, but I think it's still to mislead people because of the betting to get a three-peat.
But to mislead who?
To mislead all the betters. And
No. But are the betters looking at how many days it's been since Patrick Mahomes' birthday to the Super Bowl?
well, no, I don't think the betters are looking at that.
So who's the group of people looking at that?
It's like people like us, you know. And then they're hopefully they're targeting the ones that don't know, and then that don't know they go, oh wow, they are 145. Oh wow, you know what? I'm gonna bet. I'm gonna bet big now. You know, it's just one big game. You know, so anyway, yeah, you're on it though. It's funny how this thing played out because I was one of them. I was thinking, oh wow, are the Clippers gonna win because of that 44? And then, or are they gonna Nuggets gonna win? It was like to me, it became double coded. So it just and now look at who we have. And then I was gonna tell you like I want let's let your listeners hear this. And you mentioned it as well. The Nuggets played today, and the Derby was today,
And they had Carmelo Anthony at the Derby, who wore the number
and they
15 for
had
the Nuggets.
Carmelo, and yes, exactly. And then Djokovic
He has
is a
racehorses.
horse. Yeah, he has horse racers. You know, it's how funny it was all tied in.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, I
yeah,
told you
so
that
you just
before.
gotta like pay attention.
We caught that before the game. We were like, look at that. They're gonna have the Nuggets advance the same day as the Derby. When Jokic is known for having horses,
Right.
it's all
So you
connected,
just
man.
gotta like kind of pay. You gotta pay attention to what's going on in the news. You have to look at patterns, and I think you have to kind of not look too much into the Stat Muse thing because that can be misleading.
Yeah, but that's how they're gonna get. That's how they're trying to get us. Just for the people
Yeah,
who are strictly just looking at the numbers and not looking at the overall picture.
that or and I think maybe they're trying to deter us from doing decoding. So that way we become lost sheep and we just gamble like, oh well.
Yeah, exactly. Because I'm pretty sure people who got baited with the Clippers narrative, that 98 and 118, are now looking at Gematria like, oh, Gematria's bullshit. Oh, I'm not. This is a waste of time. Not realizing that the problem is actually them. That they're the ones
Right.
not doing it correctly.
Exactly. You know, and then the draft, all that is all BS anyway. You know, for the draft for football, it's all BS. You know, it doesn't matter who the players are and how good they are. It doesn't matter. They already have it picked out by the numbers on certain teams that fit that number. You know, for that Super Bowl. So anyway,
All right,
we'll talk
appreciate the
again
call,
after.
Vince. I'm gonna get somebody else in there.
Yeah.
All
All
right,
right.
Vince.
Later.
All right. We call this person from Niagara Falls back. Hello.
Hello.
Yeah, thanks for the call. What's going on?
Hey, how you doing, Arthur?
I'm good, man.
So, I had a question, man. Because I've been decoding for like a few months now.
Yeah.
How much weight does the reverse reduction hold on the calculator?
What do you mean wait?
Well, what I mean by is like because I decoded Colorado Avalanche and Dallas Stars game today, and pretty much, man, the head coach of the Dallas Stars, it was coming into the game, he was 8-0 in game sevens. So if you go in the calculator, if you type in his the Dallas Stars, the reverse reduction comes out to 8-1, right?
All four ciphers. Just to answer your question, all four ciphers matter. But if you've been listening to the live stream, you have to look at other things. Just don't just go with a cipher or a number. You have to look at the overall picture to decode successfully.
But you don't find that kind of odd though that they would be 8-1 if you type in Dallas Stars and then the head coach just happens to be 8-0 coming into the series,
Yeah,
game
but that
seven.
doesn't necessarily mean he's gonna drop to 8-1. There's other things you have to look into.
But here's another thing too, though. If you type in Avalanche, the reverse reduction is 43. So if the Avalanche would have won, they would have been four and
I don't
three.
think I don't think you're listening. You cannot just go by that. You have to look at the overall picture and solve what the ritual is to find out who's really gonna win and what numbers are really gonna be implemented in the game. It's not just, oh, look, this coach has 8 wins and no losses and his team equals 81. That's not how you do it. It's more than just numbers.
Okay, so you're saying that there's other factors going into it. Then is
Yes,
that how?
yes, yes. And to answer Topsy's what he wrote in the comments, yeah, the Pirates 88 did not happen. But if you saw the live stream, I made it very clear that the Cubs had a narrative because they liked the number 9, and the Pirates ended up picking their ninth home win. You see, when you write Topsy, you don't write the complete truth. You only write half of it to make yourself look good. What I was saying is the Pirates had the better narrative because, in my opinion, they pay tribute to 88 way more often than not. So, and I was saying, you don't want to bet a lot of money on the Pirates though, because the Cubs they have this thing for the number 9. And if the Pirates would have lost, and I said it in the video, go back and look at it. The Pirates could have fell to 7-9 right before they played the San Diego Padres, the team with a 79 connection. Why didn't you put that in your comment? You got to be more transparent, Topsy. Stop saying that Gematria is not consistent. It's not consistent to you because you're not that skilled, right? We picked up on the Warriors being upset by the Rockets and picking up that 175 all-time postseason loss because Houston Rockets is 175 like Golden State. What do you mean it's not consistent? It's not consistent for the people like you who are not that experienced at it. That's just that. Now that's the truth. Today we picked up on the big trap with the Clippers. What do you mean it's not consistent? All right, so to answer your question, if you want to successfully figure out the outcome of a sports game, you have to look at deeper. No, you have to look at more than just numbers, because 9 times out of 10, there's gonna be numbers on both sides, like we've seen in almost every single championship and almost every single sports game. There's numbers on both sides. Case in point, that Pirates game, they could have won and became 8-8 against the Cubs at home, or they could have fell to 7-9 right before they played the Padres. But if you would have figured out, okay, what is the overall ritual between these two teams? The overall ritual was the number 9 on that date numerology. I forgot what the date numerology, what it was, but it was synced up with the Cubs. And that's why I was like, you know what, even though I like the 88, this is not a game where you want to go and bet the house on the Pirates. You get what I'm saying?
So if you're saying it's more than numbers, then it's a narrative too, then.
Yes, it's the narrative is above. It's above the numbers.
Okay. Okay, I see what you mean then.
Yeah.
All right, man. Hey, thanks for the call.
Thanks a lot, man. Yeah, I did say it was a free pick, but I made it very clear. I said, because you can't bet on both teams, right? You can't bet on both teams, even though there's numbers on both sides. In the time that I've been doing this, the number 88 has been more consistent with the Pirates. That doesn't mean it's hard to hear the caller. My bad. I think it's the way I had the phone. I'll try better next caller. People like Topsy and others, they like to bring up, anytime we get something incorrect. But he won't ever talk about stuff like this. This was another free pick, right? Now, are we gonna get everything correct? We're not. But nailing a 6-point underdog like the Rockets were on that, what was it, yesterday or the day before yesterday? May 2nd. The Rockets were 6-point underdogs against the Golden State Warriors. And I put this out before the game. I said I put out the Stat Muse records and how the both teams share that nice little 175 number. M equals 13. Happy. Oh, look, 115 and 107 final. LOL. It's not consistent. Anybody else wants to call in? The number's on the screen, 646-986-0958. What do you think about the topic? I know a lot of you have questions, but I want to talk about the topic. If you just joining us, the topic is this. Sites like Stat Muse and other websites that provide us with, sports records. What is their real purpose? Because I believe that 100% of the bettors who are not in the Gematria community are not visiting StatMuse before deciding on who to bet on. And I might be wrong about that, but I'm pretty sure. I mean, what would be... Because the thing is this. Before I learned about Gematria, I did not care about the coach's records. Why would I care about how many wins or losses a coach has? Hello?
Hey, it's Plain Decoded calling.
How you doing, man? Thank you for the call.
Good. I just wanted to chime in on the
the 666 game thing from the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
Like when that came, when I saw that at first, I was like, okay, like it makes sense. But I didn't. I could feel like the chargedness around the game, right? Like so, I people I talked to, I just faded the whole game. I told people like, I'm not betting this. Like it does seem like bait. I've worn my like Discord. I have a Discord, and I warned them
Hold
because
on, because you used the word bait, and that's what I want. That's what I want to get into. Why would they be baiting a community that supposedly does not exist?
well, like it's like to like assuming that there is a cabal that's doing this and that they're scripting these games, they would know that we exist. They know we exist.
No, but I'm saying is, how would they set it up this way? Did they anticipate that we was going to exist in 2025? Because you got to think about they've been scripting the Eagles and Chiefs games from the beginning. So why would they just perfectly be synced? Like the timing is just perfect.
Well, like they would like if I was them, I would just be like, okay, like we have this plan set up. We know that these people are going to do this thing. Like we'll just change the plan, you know. But and then another thing I was thinking of when I first saw it, I was thinking, this seems like bait to me. And just imagine that it did happen, right? Then we have like this stuff that would likely go viral. They don't want that. So do you see that it goes to 666 and 666? You got guys like Jake the Asshole. He's going viral off the fake. He like breaks down the fake like plays, right? And there's lots of channels that do that, especially on football because it's obviously so fake. So that's growing so fast. Now, if you add that on top of it, then they got this other thing that's going to go viral. And when Joe Public can understand 666 and 666, all Christians know that. And so they see that your mother would know that, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then they're going to be like look at this. But they're not going to allow that.
Yeah, but what about situations like the 98 and 118 with the Clippers?
I mean, I don't pay attention to basketball too much, but the 118 is what cipher was that again?
So Clippers is 98 forwards, 118 in reverse, and the Nuggets came in with 118 wins and 97 all-time losses against the Clippers. So if the Clippers would have upsetted them, what say it again?
Reverse ordinal or reverse reduction?
Well, yeah, it's forwards and backwards. It's ordinal and reverse ordinal. 98 forwards, 118 in reverse.
I mean, like when I'm decoding, when I do Gematria decoding, like I have my notes up, and then every time I've ever done a game, like if it hits or it doesn't, I put a check mark or an X next to it. So like for some codes, like some teams, like one of their main numbers never hits. Like I noticed that when I track it, right? So I don't know about 118. Like if I hits often and it missed, like yeah, that would seem like they're baiting you, right?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So why would they be baiting us? If because
probably get off on it.
No, but what I'm saying is supposedly nobody knows about this stuff, and if okay, so let's say they do know that we exist. Obviously, that they from the beginning, from the time that the Nuggets franchise was established and they started playing against the Clippers, was they scripting the games and anticipating that in 2025 this community was going to exist? How did they know that we was going to exist when they started scripting the game?
Huh? Let's say that they intended to do the 666 thing. Like they've been setting it up for years, and now we come around, and they know we exist, and they're like, okay, well,
okay, that's a good answer. That's a good answer. So you're saying that maybe we're the ones changing their narrative. You think that so they're flipping the script because of us. So yeah, that's basically what you're trying to say, right?
Yeah, and then as far as like the 118 goes, like so in my experience, the Vancouver Canucks, like the 40 never hits, and that's like in the main cipher. Like I have like a bunch of them where that they never hit. Pittsburgh Penguins 245 rarely hits. Like so some numbers like don't hit, and then some numbers smash. Like obviously Tampa Bay 25 smashes, right? Mm-hmm. So I don't know about the 118 and stuff like that. But
no, 118 and 98 are huge numbers with the Clippers. But I'm saying is, I feel like, and since it was a game 7, it was the perfect scenario for somebody to get baited with that.
Oh yeah. Well, like I'm not paying attention to the NBA right now. So like, how many teams are left? How many?
I think there's
setups are
about
left?
8 teams. Well, soon there'll be 8 teams left. I think after tomorrow.
So it's like the semifinal, or it's a
It's the semis, yeah.
no, it's a quarter. So yeah, everybody's watching it. So yeah, like they know that like everybody's watching that. So like assuming that they're in control, they can just they'll have that set up. Like they can see in advance, right? And if they're wizard, like the concept of gematria is like it's like a form of manifestation, and like in reverse, it's like a form of divination, right? So like they're manifesting things with these numbers, and then but also you can use it for divination. So, and then if they're magicians, they can just change it. Like they don't care. Their whole what is their goal overall? I don't know.
True, that's a good point. So yeah, they maybe they were planning the 666 stuff, but since we came around, the thing is I don't know, because that means I don't know how much I believe that, because that means you realize that this community is then it's like we're changing the destiny of these legends, right? Because think about it, if we was around the time Jordan was there, then that means because of this community, Jordan would have never had 6 championships.
I don't know, but like just imagine that it happened, okay? And then you go and show your grandmother, and if she's a Christian,
Yeah, but if it would have happened, Patrick Mahomes would have had another Super Bowl.
Yeah, but I'm saying like they're not gonna allow Joe Public to like clue into all this stuff. They're supposed to be like the blind.
Right? Yeah, but even if they would have did it, people would have been like, "That's just a coincidence," like how they always do.
No, not Christian. No, I don't think so. Because I could imagine showing that to my mother and father, and like and them being like, "Huh."
But what about the Astros? There are other 666 rituals that you can show. Or the Celtics. The Celtics, they advanced to the finals 666 days after the death of Bill Russell. So they've done 66 rituals before.
That's too much. That's too much for that average person. Like now you got more. That's too much. Like if it's just a simple stat, then they can see that, right? It's hard to dismiss.
Okay.
In my opinion, anyways.
Okay.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. But you know what? Like also when I've been doing like props and stuff, I've seen like players in the NHL, they get to in their 666 game and then get their 666 point. It doesn't happen, and like no one's looking at that.
And you just reminded me of Kobe Bryant. So if he was around and we was telling people like, look, today is Kobe's 666 game. He's gonna score 81, and let's say we would have went viral after he would have scored 81. So you're saying if he would have been around for that game, Kobe would have probably never scored 81 points, right?
No, I don't agree with that because that's too complicated. Like it's the 666 thing. 666 is pure. It's like a visual thing. Like you can see it. If you don't have to take steps to get to it.
No, but the people would have been like, oh, but they got 20. What about those 27 ties?
I don't know, but I just know that like the mind of somebody who could dismiss it, right? Like they're like, oh.
Well, yeah, the mind of somebody that would have dismissed it would have been like, yeah, they got 666 wins, 666 losses, but they also got 27 ties.
Yeah, but it's visually there. Like you can look at it and see it. So like the 27 would just you could easily dismiss the 27. That's ties. You're looking at the pure number, and that's what I was thinking about when somebody's seeing the 8, the Pirates thing with the 8 and 8.
Yeah.
That's not a pure number. Like if there's a hidden stat in the back that is an 88 pure, like it's likely going to hit that.
Yeah,
like,
you're right.
Yeah, that's all I wanted to say. So.
All right, man.
Yeah,
I appreciate that, man. Thank you for your call, man. Shout out to playing Dakota, man. Thank you, man. Check out his channel. He does amazing work as well. Oh man. Yeah, to be respectful to everybody that called in, I think Vince was the only person that got my question. He's the only one that really understood what I was asking. What I'm saying is, why are they setting up these records this way? Because why would they be okay with 80% of the gamblers winning on the Eagles, but when it comes to us, they want us to be tricked and misled. Because they could have had us. They could have had some of the Gematria community, win on the Clippers, 98-118. But why didn't that happen? Something fishy going on, you guys. I hope you guys understand what I'm saying. There's something real fishy going on, and I think these sites are all part of the plan to confuse us, man. And I like what Vince said. He said, we can't really verify if those stats are true because I've 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 came across moments where Pro Football Reference will have one record and Stat Muse will have another record. Topsy, you want to call in? The number's on the screen, Topsy. See what you got. Got a lot to write about. Let's see what you got to say. I'll take some more calls if you guys want to call in. I've been here for an hour. I could do probably 30, 40 more minutes if you guys call in. Okay, so Double Check says they made all the money on the Chiefs futures, so they didn't care about losing that 80% on the Eagles. Okay, that's a good point. Celebrities know the results just like the announcers and players. Yep, I agree. Celebrities definitely know. Hello? My man Topsy, man.
What's good, man?
The opposition.
Ain't the opposition, man. Listen, I need you to understand something, bro. Like, just because we not seeing like our perspective on uh this community or just this movement period isn't the same, doesn't mean that I'm against you, bro.
Nah, I know. I
It's
was just messing
like
with you. I was just messing with you.
like out of most people in this community, bro, like you one of the few that I really respect, bro. It's just
I respect you too. You know that. You know that.
we just have a like my stance on this is not that I don't believe gematria isn't real or isn't a thing. It's just that the masses don't care about it, and because of that, that's why I think it's bullshit. Because I've been doing this for a decade, bro, and I've been trying to get like I'm literally the only person in my family that's on this. I've tried so hard to convince other people in my family to be on it. I've tried so hard to convince friends to be on it, and even strangers that I didn't even know. And for a decade later, bro, I have gotten nowhere. Literally, I'm the only person in my family. And I'm gonna ask you a question. For you, are you the only person in your family that does this?
Yes.
Exactly. And you've been doing this a decade too. So that's my point. Like, what does that tell you? That most people don't care. And I'm not asking you to give
No,
up
the
or
thing is,
anything like
people in
that.
my family they don't believe me. They think that I'm hallucinating.
And that's what's even like that's crazy. But what's even more crazy is I have some people in my family that do believe in something to it, but even then they only care but so much. They don't like I can point something out to them and give them a perfect example of the rigging, or there has to be some type of like secret, like some type of something going on behind the scenes, and it'll be very convincing to them. And even then, like they'll only go but so far with it. And after I realized that, man, that's when I'm like, well, what am I beating my brains out for here? Like, what? Why am I like getting worked up and upset over this stuff when people don't really care? That's my whole stance with this now. Like after a decade, it ain't like I've been doing this for a year or two. This is a decade in, bro, and I've gotten nowhere with it. That's why I refuse. Like my focus is just to try to make money off of it, and that's it. Trying to like get people to believe in this and get people to see the truth. Like I'm done with it, man. Like, and I'm not.
How you feel about the question that I asked earlier about like do you think that do you think we've been targeted in a sense?
No question, bro. You have to think about it, man. Like, even before this movement came about, man, the people that orchestrate all of this stuff, man, they understand that there are skeptics out there. There are people that are quote unquote woke or conspiracy theorists. And they know that those type of people or us exist even before social media became as big as it was. And they understood that coming into it, like when they was making these social media platforms, that there are going to be people on these platforms who go against the agenda. They know that, and I guess that's why they double code things, or that they make it more double coded. And
But
I
what I'm
don't know.
saying is, why would they give us these tools like Stat Muse and Pro Football Reference? Because if think about it, if they eliminate those websites, how more difficult will this stuff get for us?
Yeah, but how can they eliminate it though? You can't outlaw it. Like how can you stop it? It's not like they're doing anything illegal by producing stats.
No,
You
but
can't.
it doesn't have to exist.
Yeah, but I'm saying like you can't like. Are we assuming that like all of these stat sites are done by the higher ups? That's hard to believe. Like
Because all right, before 2014, it didn't exist, right?
what stat news?
Yes,
Yeah,
they could have kept it that way.
yeah, but I'm saying like are we saying are we assuming that stat news was created by the higher ups?
Yeah, but what I'm saying is, it came around the time Gematria was around.
Yeah,
It didn't have to come out ever. It didn't ever have to come out.
stat news.
Because in 2011, I'm pretty sure there was conspiracy theorists out there. We didn't have Stat Muse. So how was people decoding the games? If there was anybody knowledgeable of the knowledge, how was that person figuring out how many records, like these records that we can find on Stat Muse? Because Stat Muse is a little bit more advanced than Pro Football Reference and Basketball Reference. There's things on Stat Muse that you can find on Stat Muse that you can't find nowhere else. Like how many wins a person has on a specific date. Those things are only available on Stat Muse.
Yeah, but if you, I don't know if you ever pay attention to the commentary, but like listen to the stats that they be having, like the stats that they produce on like when these
Yeah, why would that's exactly that's a good point. Why are they giving us that? The announcers always they have access to all these records. We heard this for years from them. We've never had access to it, and now they're giving us access to that.
they be having crazy stats, like very nuanced stats, like how do you even know that?
Yeah, exactly. They'll say, "Oh, LeBron, LeBron is 6-0, and whenever he eats a fried chicken, they'll come up with some crazy stat
Yeah,
before the game.
doesn't have those type of stats though, so that's what makes me think like. I don't know. Like I'm not sure. I'm not sure if I believe that Stat News is ran by the elites. I'm pretty sure they know they're aware of it, but I'm not sure if I believe that they're in on like Stat News or they know anything about it. Because that I don't know. Like that would hurt them. Like I'm not sure if I believe that they're in on that.
Because Stab Muse they do have a history of giving wrong information. Like so if you go on Pro Football Reference, sometimes it's not the same as Stab Muse. It's not.
Or NQ.
Or M Cube, yeah, M Cube. Sometimes they're a little off. Not most 99% of the time they're on point, but there's been instances where I'm like, wait, why the Stat Muse says that this team has this many wins, but Pro Football Reference is saying this many wins.
But how can we tell who's right though?
Okay, that's what I'm saying. So if they wanted to manipulate us, this is the perfect site to do that with.
I just know from experience when I compare and contrast all of those sites, I feel like Stat Muse is the most consistent.
Yeah, because I'm saying, okay, that 98 and 118, it was really confusing a lot of people, and I'm like, okay, why would it be set up for Game 7 for where the Nuggets can pick up that 98th loss against the team with the 98 118 connection? That is so perfect, and I know there's nobody else in the world that even knows about that except us.
Exactly. But that's like it's easy to control the sheep because they're not thinking about stuff like that. But it's that 1% us that can make a difference in the world if we can consistently show, like if we can consistently hit with gematria, that's what they're worried about because we could grow, we could actually gain traction and gaining more people in the movement. But if we can, like the entire football season, 99.9% of the community was on Chiefs to 3 feet. because of the 145 sing and the 666 mess. And it was like that for the entire season. They was on the Chiefs to three-peat, and you get to the end of the road and it loses. That'll deter people from believing in the movement and believing in the numbers. So that's why they deceive, because if they can, if they pull it off right there, like they had most of the people in this community on Chiefs to three-peat and it didn't happen. That'll make people not believe in the community.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. Why would they set up the Super Bowl exactly 145 days after Patrick Mahomes' birthday?
Because they know we on there. They know we
But that's what I'm
man. They
saying.
know we out there.
They're specifically targeting us, even though 80% of the population was on the Eagles.
Because if we can show consistency or be consistent with coding and gematria, we can gain more people. And that's
Exactly.
why they do
Exactly.
stuff
So
like
we
that.
are. So the answer to my question is yes, we are under attack.
Yeah, without question. That's without question. Like I feel like we already knew that. Like that goes without saying. Like the 666 setup is was so like that's a perfect example of us being targeted. Like who doesn't see that setup and don't think, oh man, that's got to happen. A 666 666. Who doesn't think that that wasn't going to happen? Like
No, but not only that. The other 145 and then the commercial with the fumble rooski,
yeah, but
like
that's
they
going to
really
do
did a
us though.
lot to make it look really good for the Kansas City Chiefs.
Because they don't need us gaining any traction.
Think about it. They
That's
spent money on a commercial to mislead us.
yeah, yeah.
Millions of dollars on a commercial.
But when you control the money system, when you control the monetary system, like there is no limit to what you can do. Like you're like they don't have a budget. Like they control the entire monetary system. They control everything. The social media platforms, the banking cartel. They own the fucking the fucking military industrial complex. Like they control everything, so it's like it's no limit to their power, bro. They're not limited with like money. They control the entire money system, so they're not worried about okay, damn, we can't be spending too much on commercials. They're not worried about stuff like that. They control all of this stuff, so it's like it's no limit to their power, bro. And if they feel like something is a threat, then they got to do anything they can to, because we could cripple them, bro. Like if we could actually gain some traction in this movement, bro, we could cripple this shit. And that's why they go to these lengths, because they don't need that. Like if I knew you was a threat to my well being and my power, why wouldn't I try to kill you? I'm gonna try to keep you like
But
as low as possible.
that goes back to the debate me and you was having. You was saying that they don't really care about us. That we're nobody to them. And I was telling you that no, we are very important to these people. They are really paying attention to everything that we're doing. Yeah, as small as my channel is, they're watching me. As small as any other Dakota's channel is, they know who the people in the Gematria community are, and they keeping an eye on us. And they're spending money, millions of dollars, to confuse us. That Fumble Rooski commercial was a clear example of how they're spending millions of dollars to mislead a community.
That's why I don't know, man. I just feel like it's 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 a double code situation.
Oh, and then also, sorry to interrupt you, Tati, but think about that movie that came out where they used Zachary Hubbard's his famous line about the 56 rituals with coronavirus.
What's that?
You didn't see the that new movie that's about to come out.
Nah.
Somebody was telling me about it. Can somebody in the chat remind me the name of the movie? Somebody sent me the clip of it. In the beginning of the trailer, actually, I'm gonna play the trailer in the live stream. In the beginning of the trailer, you can hear somebody mimicking Zachary Hubbard, like, oh, 56, and Tom Hanks was the first celebrity with the virus. His name is 56, something like that.
It's a movie. What movie is it?
It's a movie that's about to come out, and they're mimicking the Gematria community. They're mimicking Zach, but they're mimicking like what we do. And there's also a commercial. I don't know if you've seen it with LeBron that he's supposed to be reading a book, and there's a guy like a conspiracy theorist saying he's not really reading a book. Look at him. You know that's not how you read a book. They're doing these things. Yeah, you see that commercial, right? Let's see if somebody reminds me of the title of that movie. That's damn, I just somebody sent me the clip of it. I should have posted it on my Instagram. Do you guys know the movie I'm talking about? There's a movie that's about to release where they used in the beginning of the movie, at the beginning of the trailer, they used Zachary Hubbard's his intro pretty much. Nobody in the chat knows. 73 people here. Nobody knows. Man, Eddington. Okay. Yeah, I think that sounds familiar. Oh, yeah, I'm gonna look it up. Eddington.
Real impact. Like they would smoke us, bro. Like,
Well, they got us in movies. Eddington trailer coming out 2025 featuring Joaquin Phoenix, the guy who played Joker. I'm gonna play it and let's see if we can hear the part that where they mock Zachary Hubbard. Let's see.
okay.
There's multiple trailers, so I'm gonna see if which one is it. Hold on, let me see.
Of course, they keep looking at that
Oh, here it
lab
is.
in Wuhan, China. If you look at that lab in Wuhan when that was established, it was 1956. Of course, that was the year Tom Hanks was born, the first celebrity with the virus, Mr. Sleepless in
If
Seattle.
you value
By the way,
your
Danny
life,
Durkin was the mayor
you
of
should
Seattle
think
in the
twice.
world outside.
Because the people of Eddington like guns.
Your pain is not a coincidence.
You notice what they did? So they have Zachary Hubbard in the background, and then they have Joaquin Phoenix speaking louder than his voice. But it's not actually Zachary Hubbard. It's somebody mimicking him. I'm gonna start it over. Hold on. Can you hear it, Towsy? All right. Try to listen to the background instead of the voice that you hear the most. Is Joaquin Phoenix, the guy who played Joker. He's speaking louder than the voice in the background, but the voice in the background is the person giving the 56 decode. Listen to it.
Of course, they keep looking at that lab in Wuhan, China. If you look at that lab in Wuhan when that was established, it was 1956. Of course, that was the year Tom Hanks was born, the first celebrity.
I mean, just that right there. Who does that sound like?
It does sound like that. It sounds like a conspiracy theory.
Yes. Oh, do you look at that lab in Wuhan, China? It was established in 1956, and guess who was the first celebrity with the virus? It was Tom Hanks, and his name was 56. That is a clear attack on us, my man. It doesn't get more blatant than that. And they put it in the movies, so that shows you that they are watching.
Question, bro. I definitely think that
Mr. Sleepless in
If
Seattle.
you value
By the way,
your
Danny
life,
Durkin was the mayor
you
of
should
Seattle
think
in the
twice.
world outside.
Because the people of Eddington like guns.
Your pain is not a coincidence. You are not a coincidence. We are not a coincidence.
And I'm speaking now.
We are not a coincidence. Your pain is not a coincidence. Who talks like that?
My husband's announcement yesterday, which was false.
Eddington, New Mexico, despite its meager population, is quickly being co-opted in online circles. I'm ready to continue.
And then in the trailer, they're scrolling through Instagram, and they got 9/11. They got a post on 9/11. Look at this. They got a post on 9/11 and Michael Jackson. Oh my gosh. Look at this. Michael Jackson was meant to be at a meeting in the World Trade Center on September 11th, but he left early or something like that. Man.
But just look at it though, like if they're willing to do that and be blatant with it like that, what can we do with that though? Like like if they're willing to like to just like why even spot like that? Like if they was really like considered us a like if they was really worried about us. It's like they're making mockery of it.
Yeah, they're making a mockery out of it, but they're also trying to brainwash the masses into like, look at these wackos. So it's also programming.
Yeah, it's so crazy, man. I don't know. It just seems so advanced. Like it just seems like such a huge machine. Like how can you really oppose it? Like we really need the entire world behind us to really make an impact, man.
Yeah, the guy, somebody, and the real CJ said, "Mr. Sleepless in Seattle." I mean, who talks like that?
Mr. Who?
You know how Zach used to refer to Tom Hanks as Mr. Sleepless in Seattle?
I never heard him say that.
Yeah, he used to say that.
Yeah.
That's Zachary's words. I mean, they mocking us. Well, they're mocking him, but you know.
But look how they, like historically, right? Like if a person or persons was really posing a threat
Word for word, ball for ball. That's funny.
to the powers that be, like what, like they smoked everybody, bro. Like just look at it historically. Like,
Yeah, but the people who they smoked are agents. I mean, if you're talking about MLK and Malcolm X, those were agents who both died on 44 on 44 rituals. They've never really smoked any conspiracy theories from YouTube. I mean, can you name any of the conspiracy theorists from YouTube
like who though? Like that's really making an impact.
You don't think Zachary Hubbard has made an impact?
I think
they got him in movies.
I think they watered Zach down. Like it's not like Zach used to garner millions of views, bro, and hundreds of thousands of views. He doesn't get that.
He doesn't get the views because of the censorship. I'll explain this to you, but he's getting the views that matters, and that's the views from the elites. If he didn't matter,
they no longer have to like actually kill you. If they can just kill your movement, then you're done. They don't have to actually kill you. But look at like anybody who spoke the truth, but they killed him. Like John Lennon, Nipsey, anybody historically that spoke.
Nipsey was another agent. He died in a nice little ritual connected to the other Nipsey Russell, the comedian. He wasn't killed because of what he was saying. He was killed because he sold his soul to the Illuminati, and that was his date that he was supposed to go out. A day before April Fool's, the guy who had a song called Fool.
But the following day, like after the day, he died the day before he was supposed to meet with the LAPD.
Yeah, but that's all propaganda. That's all part of the lies to make it seem like his death was some type of setup. His death was an orchestrated ritual. Clearly, he died on the 90th day of the year. The comedian Nipsey Russell, he died on a day leaving 90 days in the year. When you write out 90, it equals 87 and 33, like the ages they both died. One died, the comedian died at 87, and he died at 33. He was not killed because of what he was saying or because of a meeting that he was about to have. He was killed in a nice little Jesuit ritual. They get almost every other rapper.
So you think everybody that gets smoked, they just an agent? Like they
No, but I'm not saying everybody. I'm saying the people that you're naming. Nipsey Hussle was an obvious ritual. He was named after a comedian named Nipsey Russell, who died on the day leaving 90 days in a year.
That doesn't mean that he wasn't for good, though.
Do you realize that he died come on, he died in a perfect ritual. The day after he died was April Fool's Day. That was the day that they released the name of the killer.
I definitely believe his death was a ritual, but that doesn't mean that he was like he was.
Yeah, but the people who participate in these rituals are the people being sacrificed. They don't just target people who, if you're in the Illuminati, you have to agree to be a puppet. You have to sign the contract. He signed the contract.
I'm just saying, like, look at the people historically that was trying to expose.
Yeah, but if you're talking about MLK and Malcolm X, those people were
beyond them. Like, just think about everybody that historically that was speaking.
Like who?
Like agenda. John Lennon.
I mean, that's another celebrity though.
Yeah,
do you know any average person that's not a celebrity, that's not on these big networks, That's
But why
not.
are we worried about an average person though? These people that are
Zachary
big,
Hubbard.
what are we worried about?
Zachary Hubbard is an average person, somebody that you can call and meet.
Again, bro, like they killed his movement though. This dude used to get hundreds of thousands and millions of views, and he no longer gets that. Like, if I
But
could
you
just
don't know.
kill
You
this
don't know if
movement,
he's
I
really
don't have
getting
to
those
kill
views or not. You don't know that.
Huh?
I mean, you don't know if he's getting those views.
What you mean? All you gotta do is go to his channel, look at his viewership.
You don't know, but that's what I'm saying. Those numbers are not real. Those numbers are not real.
But how can you tell if it's real or not, though, bro? That's what I'm saying. Like, look at his old videos and look at his videos of today. They're not the same. It's a big disparity in the viewership.
Do you realize that there's videos on his channel that got deleted without him authorizing it?
And that's my point, though. Like, if they can just kill your movement.
But that's what I'm saying. If they're able to delete your videos, they're able to delete your views. They have control over it's their platform.
But that's what I'm saying, though, bro. Listen to what I'm saying. Like, if I can kill your movement, I don't have to actually kill you.
But they're not killing the movement. All they're doing is killing the views. They're killing the number that's showing on the screen. But they're not killing the people actually watching it.
Well, why else would they go to the trouble to do that, bro? Unless they admit that that's just honestly what it is. If people don't see you getting the viewership like that, they don't really tune in to what you saying, bro. That's just facts. A lot of people just look at something look at Mr. Beast. This man got hundreds of billions of views.
And you really think that many people are tuning in to watch him give away money because watch three people run a I don't even know his videos, but like he'll have some stupid celebrities on, eating the person that eats the banana, the first person to complete 100 bananas wins $1 million. You're trying to tell me that many people in the world are tuning in to watch that?
Yeah, but
that shows you that the views are not real.
And they might not be, but if people see that, most people see viewership, and if they see you get a lot of views, they're gonna tune in, bro.
Not necessarily, because to be honest with you, I've only watched.
That's how they work.
Yeah, but I've only watched one Mr. Beats video ever.
But you somebody from the true community, though. I don't expect you to fall victim to that. I'm talking about the mass. The masses see that you got a bunch of views and you got a bunch of followers. That'll make them tune in. That's why the elites do that.
Yeah, but I just highly doubt that if his videos say 10 million views, that there's 10 million people watching his stuff.
Yeah, I definitely believe that, like, it's controlled, or it's not like what they make.
Well, that's what I'm saying. If they do it with him, they can do it with us. Maybe we're getting more views than what's being shown.
But you gotta ask yourself that question though, like, why would they make Zach seem like he doesn't get the views that he once did? Why would they go through that trouble?
Because he's giving away. I mean, think about it. If he's not that important, if they're trying to kill him, if they're trying to kill his movement, why would they put him in a movie? That's more publicity. That's more something to brag about. That's more like, oh, look at me. I'm this important that they put me in a movie. They're making him more important than. That's what I'm saying. If they really wanted to eliminate this movement, they're not gonna be mentioning him. They're not gonna be putting him in a movie. They're not gonna give him this publicity.
Like, it definitely sounds like
that's him. That's him, man. You've been here 10 years, man. You know that's them mocking him.
His community does, but most people.
Who else talks like that? Nobody else talks like that.
Yeah, but most people aren't going to connect that though. Like, the masses aren't going to connect those dots, bro. It's just us. I definitely feel like that has a hint of Zach to it, but the masses aren't going to connect those dots like that, bro.
Yeah, but if they make a movie mocking conspiracy theorists, that way when people go on a YouTube channel and let's say they miraculously find his channel for some reason, let's say Donald Trump dies, and people are just happen to watch his videos, Oh, look at this guy. He sounds like you remember that movie? You remember that movie? What was it called? It was called Eddington. He sounds like that guy from Eddington. What a wacko. That's what they're gonna do.
Talk about numbers though. They didn't actually talk about Gematria and coding though.
They didn't talk about numbers. 1956, and that was how many people cut. What do you mean? Let's play.
They didn't actually say like this word equals this number.
No, they did that. They did that. It just Joe, like I was saying, Joe, the guy who played Joker, what is it? Joaquin Phoenix. Yeah, Joaquin Phoenix. He was talking over him, so you can't really hear it. If you listen to the background.
I'm definitely gonna go back and look at it. That's news to me. I didn't know that the community had pointed it out.
Yeah. Look, somebody sent me this video. Somebody sent me this video like a week ago. I didn't know. I forgot to mention to show you guys this shit, but yeah, it came out 2 weeks ago. So.
That was established. It was of course, they keep looking at that lab in Wuhan, China. If you look at that lab in Wuhan when that was established, it was 1956. Of course, that was the year Tom Hanks was born, the first celebrity with the virus, Mr. Sleepless in Seattle.
If you value your life, you should think twice. Because the people of Eddington like guns.
Your pain is not a coincidence. You are not a coincidence.
He even said Gematria is the practice of coding numbers into words. He said it. Holy shit. He said Gematria is the practice of coding numbers into words. Oh my god. I cannot even believe this shit. Try to listen to the background.
Because the people of Eddington like guns.
Your pain is not a coincidence. You are not a coincidence.
Did you hear that? Hello?
Hey Arthur.
Yeah.
On the trailer, right when he says when your pain is not a coincidence.
Yeah.
He says you can hear if you listen very carefully. It says Gematria, the practice of coding numbers.
Yeah. That's what I was just saying on the live stream. He just said Gematria is the practice of coding numbers into words.
I just tried to call you as I was watching it. So.
Yeah.
Because I heard you arguing with Topsy.
Yeah. He even said, oh my gosh. Oh man.
Yeah. Just that's all I wanted to say.
All right, man. Thank you. Hello?
Yeah, I don't know. It disconnected for some reason.
Yeah. Somebody called and then their phone call just went over yours. I don't know how that happened. But yeah, at the 20-second mark, he says Gematria is the practice of coding numbers into words. What the hell?
I'm about to rewatch that because I didn't hear it.
Yeah, just try to listen. Don't listen to the guy screaming out. It's a coincidence. Try to listen to the background. All right, I'm gonna play it again.
The first celebrity with the virus, Mr. Sleepless in Seattle.
If you value your life, you should think twice. Because the people of Eddington like guns.
Your pain is not a coincidence. You are not a coincidence.
Did you catch that?
I heard. It sounded like he said Gematria in practice.
Yeah. He said Gematria is the practice of coding numbers into words.
That's crazy if you said that.
Yeah, that's crazy.
That's on some Zach shit.
Yeah, they just mimicked him and put him right in the background, just enough where we can catch it, but most of the people watching this trailer not even gonna catch it.
Can't stand though. Like if they doing that, man, Zach, he really made an impact. If they doing that right there,
This trailer has 2 million views.
And I'm speaking now.
What the comments saying? You comb through the comments and see what they saying.
A bunch of sheep. Let's see. It's probably some Gematria community. I don't know if Zach even knows about this shit, but yeah, he probably does. So if they send it to me, he probably does. Definitely knows about this.
If that is like what he said.
Yeah, somebody just wrote he's quoting Gematria Effects news channel in the background. Wild. 12 days ago. Yeah. So yeah. They're quoting Zachary Hubbard in the background with the 56 and Tom Hanks. Yeah.
That's crazy. Quoting Gematria Effect news channel in the background. Yeah, that's crazy, bro.
Literally, they're literally quoting.
That's crazy, bro.
Yeah, man, that's what I'm saying. Like, if he wasn't really in their radar, man, why would they even be doing this?
Yeah. Gotta give Zach his props though, man. That's crazy.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. And then for them doing this stuff, this is like making him more of a star. And that's if they didn't want that, they wouldn't put his skit in the beginning of the video. You get what I'm saying?
It's just so it's such a crazy. This shit is so crazy, man.
So that makes me think like how long they've been doing this. How long they been, trying to target us and mess with us because it's obvious they're doing it in the sports games. It's obvious they did it in the movies. They're doing it. They did it in ESPN. I don't know if you guys remember those. Oh man, I'm gonna find those. Have you ever watched those ESPN clips where the guy says, "If you're into numerology."
Yeah, I've seen those.
Yeah. Those were the first times I've seen the media attack this community, man. Yeah. So
it's just so I don't know, man. It's just so hard to like. They're so good at deception and shit, bro. It can be mentally fatiguing, just trying to keep pace with these motherfuckers, man.
And that's what I was saying earlier about. You see, remember what I was saying about them spending all that money on the Fumble Rooski commercial? Yeah. Think about the budget that this movie has, all to mock this community, man.
Mm-hmm. They got the biggest wallet. They got the biggest guns. Like, they control the banking cartel. They control the military-industrial complex. They control the biggest social media platforms. It's like, how the hell can you oppose that shit? We own this is on their we're on their platform. They control this shit. Like, they control all of this shit, man. And if it's to the point that we believe that they control how many likes you get or how many views you get, like all of that shit, like that. Like, how the hell can you oppose that, bro? It's just crazy. But that's definitely amazing though. Like they
$80 million budget.
And how much they gonna make off of it? That's just the budget. They probably gonna make like.
So they spent $80 million to mock the Gematria community. They could have just gave us that money, and I think all of us would have just been like, all right, we're going to delete our channels. All right, you'll never hear from us again. Like,
for real, though.
I'm pretty sure they would have given Zach another $50 million. It would have gave me a couple $100,000. All the Gematria channels get $100,000. Just turn off your channels and just go away. No, they rather put it in the movie.
Gotta get that motherfucker his props, though, man. That's crazy, though. Like, Zach stumbled upon this stuff and was able to expose it 12, 13 years ago. Like, to connect those dots like that. Like, I've always been a conspiracy theorist and always been skeptical of everything and look at everything very meticulously. But for Zach to connect those dots like that, bro, and, like, put that shit together like that, that's bro. You gotta give his props, bro.
Yeah, that's why, even though with all the bullshit he says out of his mouth and all the disrespectful shit. Props, yeah, that's why I always go back and try my best to defend him and try to get people like Spose Gematria to leave him alone. Because even though he's a piece of shit, he still deserves a lot of credit for doing what he did.
He do deserve his flowers.
Yeah. I've always said that. I've always said that about him.
I just do my biggest thing with him is he sells Gematria or sports betting, but he doesn't actually do it himself, and that to me is a grifter. I don't like that. Like,
bro, not everybody's into gambling. Sometimes like for example, you ever seen a barber who doesn't get his own haircut cut? It just that's how some people are like that.
All barbers I know always have a nice crispy line.
Well, the barbers where I live, most of them got braids, afros. Like, I'm like, man, you're such a good barber, but you don't cut your own hair.
they still have a nice line though. All the barbers I ever known do have a crispy line.
There's a guy that he works on Fordham Road. He's a tattoo artist. Has no tattoos, no piercings.
Yeah, I get that, but I don't know. I just feel like if Gematria if for sports betting is as profitable as you say it is, why wouldn't you make free money? No matter if you're
Because he realizes how difficult it is, and just the flat out truth, he's just not that good at decoding sports games.
And somebody pointed out to me a few weeks ago that Zach, I don't think he bet since like 2019 or 2020. He had placed a bet and then lost, and he hasn't bet since then.
But it doesn't matter because betting is to make money. If you don't need to bet to make that money, that type of money, maybe he's okay with the money that he has coming in. Doesn't need to gamble. Most people who gamble are people who are looking for a payday. Maybe he already has enough money that he doesn't have to risk the money that he already has.
Yeah.
I don't know. He'll be able to answer that. But what I'm saying is, I feel like these movies, these commercials, are more evidence to what we was talking about earlier about this community being under attack, and we need to be more careful because even though we're a small community, not getting a lot of views, not a lot of followers, we are definitely on the radar of these people, man.
Yeah,
and that is something to worry about.
I got to go back and analyze that clip though.
Yeah. At the 22-second mark.
I definitely heard Gematria in practice. I definitely caught those words.
Yeah, Gematria is the practice according numbers is the words, but they do it so slick that they got the guy screaming out coincidence louder. Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. They definitely just put Zach in a whole new light for me right there. I can't even lie. That's crazy. Like if they doing that.
Yeah, but they've been doing that though. They did that with the ESPN commercial. They said if you're into numerology, check this out. Aaron Judge wears the number 99. 99 mile per hour fastball. Spooky. They've been talking about us, man.
They mentioned Gematria?
No, but they didn't mention Gematria, but they mentioned numerology.
Yeah. Yeah, they be doing that in the game.
Yeah, but who else is into numerology? Like us. There's nobody else into numerology except us.
Yeah. Yeah, all right. And then like you were saying, the whole 118.98 setup. Ain't too many people like going on Stat Muse. Ain't too many sports bettors going on Stat Muse to like crunch numbers and figure out like who's going to win a game. It's only this community. So for them to, like set up those traps like that just for a small percentage of people, I don't know. It's just I don't know, man. It can be confusing, though. To be honest with you, trying to keep pace with these people, it can be taxing mentally, and it can be confusing.
Now, so somebody in the chat, I'm not gonna say this person's name, and this person. I'm not gonna say who it is, but this person is making she's asking a good question. She's saying that since they are putting him in a movie, does this put him in the suspicious category? Maybe he's more Alex Jones than we think he is.
Yeah.
You get what I'm saying?
Yeah, definitely. I don't know, man.
Because then that goes into what I was asking earlier. Like, was Gematria given to us to confuse us? Because maybe they thought we wasn't gonna learn as much as we already did. Because I mean, how many people in the true community are being put in movies?
Not many. It's definitely. I don't know, man. It's I don't know. I don't know what the approach is with giving Zach that type of spotlight.
Exactly. Isn't that weird?
Yeah, it's definitely weird. I'm just trying to figure out the angle that they're trying to like what are they trying with it? Like, are they trying to give him a stage, or are they trying to mock him? What are they trying to do with it? I don't know.
Yeah, it is weird. It is weird. I gotta watch the movie. I don't know what that movie's about.
I'm gonna go back and analyze that clip just to see what else I can hear, because that's news to me. I didn't hear about it before today.
Yeah, man. Shout out to Major, man. Thank you for joining us today. Yeah, that makes the questions more complicated now.
Yeah, just what's the angle? What are they trying to do? What was the point in that? Has that gotten so big that they have to like?
I don't think that's the case, man. Because if there was somebody really trying to bring you down, why would you honor them that way?
Yeah, why would you spotlight them?
Why would you spotlight them? Exactly. You'll do everything you can to put dirt on them.
Yeah, or you wouldn't give them a stage at all. You wouldn't even mention them.
Yeah, you won't mention them at all. So the person who wrote that in the comments, that was a good question. I don't like to speculate. I only like to talk about things that I know. I don't know if the guy's an agent or not. If he is, I don't know why they keep messing with my live stream. If he is, shame on him. But if he's not, shout out, congratulations to him, and thank you for giving us this unbelievable knowledge, and
yeah.
But yeah, I don't know if you'll ever know the answer to that. But we do know that there are people in the community. Alex Jones is one of them, obviously, who were put there to give us a little bit of truth and a whole lot of lies.
My thing with Alex Jones is, why would they shame him the way they did with the Sandy Hook thing?
Well, that was all ritualism. He has I think he had the January 9th birthday, I think, or January 12th birthday.
He's not allowed on YouTube anymore.
Yeah, that makes sense. But I think
why would they do that?
I think he was born on January 12th.
Have you seen the trial and everything? Like, they belittled him. They made him look like he said Sandy Hook was a hoax. He called it Sandy Hook. He said Sandy Hook was a hoax. And they made him. They took him through this long trial, and they shamed him, bro.
You notice his birthday is.
Did they really Is he really with them? Like what?
Yeah, no, he is. But you notice his birthday is 11/2, like 112. The big number in the whole Sandy Hook stuff, with the 112-pound shooter.
They made him walk all that stuff back, man. They made him.
Yeah, but that was all ritual. Look, let me show you. Let me remind people what they did with the whole Sandy Hook stuff. I don't know if I did a blog post on this, but it was 112 everywhere. 112 everywhere, and they had the number. The guy with the 112 birthday, 11/2 birthday. Not Alex Jones, Sandy Hook. Sandy Hook. It was Adam Lanza. Oh, and remember the medical examiner? His name was Wayne Carver. He was an autopsy medical examiner, guy named Carver. Where is it? Oh, here it is. So Mr. Sandy Hook, Adam Lanza, born on the 113th day of the year. Actually, he was born on the 112th day of the year, but since he was born in the leap year, it was the 113th. And Sandy Hook Elementary School is 113, like the number of deception. But that's normally the 112th day of the year. And they reported that he was 112 pounds. And Sandy Hook equals 112. And first graders equals 112. And that's why they had Alex Jones talk about it on YouTube, because he was born on February 11th, 11/2, like the number 112. And remember, the Jesuits, they operate in 112 nations. That number is very important to the Jesuit order. So that Alex Jones was just a part of this whole 112 ritual that they did with Adam Lanza. And his initials is AL, right? A1L12. 112.
Yeah. I be feeling like sometimes numbers is arbitrary, bro. And like I was just looking at my cousin. He got killed back in 2017, man. And his lifespan's 10,404 days, and that's the 102nd triangular, I think. And he died on the 102nd day of the year, and it was on his Mother's Day. And he ain't nobody, but his shit aligns like perfectly. And
yeah, but that's a little bit different than the 112 stuff they did with Sandy Hook, because in almost every news article, they was referring to him as the 112-pound Adam Lanza. Like, how many times have you seen them ever refer to a person by their weight? Like, they'll usually say,
unless they're a boxer or something.
Yeah, exactly. Why would they be referring to a shooter as the 112-pound shooter?
Yeah.
Just so obvious it's number ritual.
It's so confusing, bro. I swear it is. For the longest time, until I came across the Gematria community, bro, like I was a fan of Alex Jones, bro. Like,
Nah, me too. I think he was one of. I think he was probably everybody's first conspiracy theorist.
When you new to when you first like when you're new
Yeah,
to
when you're trying to seek knowledge, yeah.
Yeah, like Alex Jones, like I took to him, man. They used to be telling all that 9/11 stuff and all of that, and he was the first person to expose the Bohemian Grove shit. Like I used to be on him heavy, man. I used to believe it in the community, started exposing like his numerical alignments, and I'm like, well, damn, like is he a fucking agent? It's just so confusing, bro. I swear it is.
Yeah, but the people with the Wikipedias are the people you gotta be suspect about. People who have these Wikipedia pages about them, all this information about their life. I mean, who gave Wikipedia all this information about Alex Jones' life?
They've been doing this shit for a long time, though.
Yeah, but they know everything about the guy. You know, all his earlier careers. It's like, I mean, who knows, man? But I just know that he was the perfect candidate for this 112 ritual. The guy with the 112 birthday, but
yeah, definitely. Yeah, I didn't know all the 112 stuff until you just showed it to me.
Yeah, Sandy Hook 112, and then the AL, the guy with the 112 initials, born the 112th day of the year. Sandy Hook 112, first graders 112. The number of the Jesuit order.
Yeah, that stuff it's amazing, man. It's so fucking like in depth, and it's like I don't know. It's very intelligent. Like this stuff. I don't know. It's a lot to keep track with. You know what I'm saying? It's just a lot. And I don't know. My mind's kind of blown over that whole Zach shit and them referencing in that movie.
No, and then for them to say Gematria is the practice of coding numbers into words is just so blatant.
That's crazy. And it's definitely gonna, like, after this phone call, I'm definitely gonna analyze that video a little bit more, because I was not. That's new to me until I hopped on this live stream. I didn't know that. And I be in Discord every day, so I would have thought I would have seen somebody talking about that. But yeah, man.
I appreciate you, Topsy, man. Thank you for the call, man.
For sure, man. Appreciate you, man.
All right.
Someday.
All right, you too, man. All right, so we've been almost 2 hours. That's as long as I wanted to go. Hopefully you guys got some clarity of what I was trying to ask in the beginning of the video. Just be more careful, you guys. All you sports decoders, just know that even the people who don't decode sports, just anybody with this knowledge and trying to share it to people, be careful, because they're keeping an eye out on us. I'm not trying to scare anybody. I'm just saying, just be aware, because we are not doing them a favor. We are the opposition of the elites. So if you consider yourself a member of this community, just be aware. That's all I want to say. I don't want to speak like Alex Jones and try to put fear in people. Like, oh my God, be careful. They're gonna come for us. No, I don't know. If they come for us, they come for us. If they come for me, they come for me. Who knows? Whoever's watching me can keep watching me. I don't really care. I don't have fear of dying or anything like that. We all gonna die anyway. This life is only temporary. A lot of people think that's the one problem people have. They think that they're not gonna die. That's everybody's problem. That they think that, oh, I'm not gonna die. That person, my neighbor, died, but I'm not gonna die. No, you're gonna die too. The only thing that matters is what you do while you're alive. And there are things you can do to prolong your life. And this is definitely not one of them. This is definitely something that can lower your life expectancy. But this is something that I'm really passionate about, and I'm pretty sure everybody that's watching this video is passionate about it, exposing the wrongdoing. And that's why we're going to continue doing it. But just know that we know there is a big machine that's going against us, and that's the Society of Jesus. All right, so I'm gonna leave it there. Thanks to all the callers. Thanks to all the people in the chat. If you're watching this on a playback and you want to give your thoughts, please leave a comment, and we'll definitely read it and tell us what you think. I mean, you don't think we're under attack when they're making movies mocking the person that uncovered this 11 years ago, 12 years ago, whatever it was? We're definitely under attack. And don't look at the views, because the views don't really matter. There's probably a lot more people watching these videos than what the views are saying. All right, you guys. Thank you for watching. Enjoy your weekend. Peace.